TNC.
So you think there's going to be like this surprise element for UDV where you don't have much information on this team yet. They're a bit too new, and that does make enough sense. I mean, we'll see what TNC do get done as they continue on with these bans. We'll see what where they go with this. I mean, a bit of a mix, maybe some more supports to come out here for TNC Predator before we can continue with the draft.
I do like the Medusa ban coming from TNC though. Like we mentioned a lot of time, right? Skadi plus Manta style on Medusa is a big counter to Tiny, and they instantly removed it after picking Tiny as a second pick. So it kind of tells you that, all right, this is gonna be the Tiny core, mostly on the position 1 as well. UDV, they're gonna go with most likely the gyrocopter position 5, which is something that he absolutely love, and you can really tell that they are running a very fast tempo lineup here with these 3 supports, with these 3 heroes.
The thing with the gyro shards, right? Like, it's kind of ridiculous how powerful that damn thing is with the rocket and the homing missile and rocket barrage. But there's a Beastmaster Shadow Demon now being picked up from TNC Predator. No real hesitation, they went straight into it. So it does seem like they've got their game plan. Tell me about it though, Arthur. Oh, in fact, hold that thought, because now we've got a Morphling on the other side of things. How do you feel about these pickups?
Well, I think Beastmaster, they are definitely looking to give the Tiny steroids. We don't have the IO anymore, so we don't have the Lycan anymore because UDV smartly banned it out, so they have to find it on some other ways. And I assume Invoker is gonna be the direct pick here coming from TNC if it's not banned. So UDV definitely want to be careful about this. And Shadow Demon is just, once again, we're seeing more and more Shadow Demon now, Mike. And I feel like this is definitely the hero that is rising in the popularity, and the skill kit definitely fits what you want to have right now as a support. You got BKB piercing, you got a burst damage coming out as a soul catcher against all these very beefy and tanky offlaners. And I feel like the save is also super underrated. And in this case, you can always be saving the one that get Dragon Tailed. And frankly, that is the initiation coming in from UDV. So if you're able to disrupt that, UDV might not have anything coming in.
Shadow Demon almost feels like the replacement for Bane, right? Like, Bane was so popular, and now Shadow Demon, it has the save, it has the BKB piercing ulti, so it seems to kind of be the replacement. And props to you, Arthur. You did say that TNC would take an Invoker if it was available. UDV get rid of it immediately. And I was going to ask you about that as well. Like, you pointed out the Invoker. Why was that such a good pick for TNC had it been available?
Alacrity is way too strong to put on Tiny. I believe we have seen this a lot. Actually, TNC in some third-party tournaments, they have played this combination as well. They even first to pick it. So something that we see coming out from Nigma Galaxy Europe division that they did in Gamers Galaxy tournament. So definitely a very potent combination. Also because you tend to come together in the same time. You come online at the same timing around 15 to 20 minutes. So it's definitely one hero that can really hinder UDV's draft as well, especially with the EMP against the Morphling. And UDV, they are going to ban out the Lash Strike as well. So really removing this pushing potential coming out from TNC. And you know what? Let's just go back to the park.
Why not? I mean, great team fight. A Dream Coil, very good here. And I guess the silence really helps when you're against a Morphling to boot. I mean, you've been on point with predictions, Arthur. So what's the last hero for UDV? Tell me.
It's between JG and Rapido. I feel like right now that Tiny is going to be the core. Maybe you would like something to counter the Tiny on the lane. I would like something like a Viper, because it gives... Oh man, my Viper is actually banned by themselves. Because knowing TNC come into the Puck last pick, right? I think you are super happy with having Dragon Knight on the mid lane to go up against the Puck. So that you have this early dagger timing that allow you to shut down the Puck. I feel like this is where you might want to find yourself maybe another way of initiating as well. Something like a Sand King could be good. You also have the Morphling Sand King combination as well. Because I do feel like we said just now, Shadow Demon, safe, and you only have one initiation so far. You can't afford to have that getting interrupted or disrupted.
Right. We'll see if they do go down the Sand King route, or just some other initiating kind of offlane here for UDV. Is they're going to think about it for quite a bit of time. No, never mind. They are going right for that. All right, Arthur, you're very good at these predictions. I'll give you that. Right on point. In that case, Arthur, considering you are so accurate, who did come out with the better draft? I want to hear it right now.
I'll say I would really like UDV's draft. I think they are very comfortable with this. And for TNC side, I'm quite surprised that they picked Puck into the Dragon Knight, knowing that it's traditionally very Dragon Knight favorite. So I guess they are really counting on Shadow Demon to come in with the clutch saves. But yeah, I'll say UDB, I like their draft a lot. It's looking super explosive. Their early game with the 4 heroes minus Morphling is super strong. And when it comes to the late game, I believe Morphling is going to be able to answer the Tiny. So I'll actually go with UDB, but I do know that traditionally everyone says TNC is going to be a better team here. But I believe in the underdogs here.
Wow. I mean, I suppose RSG, even though they were kind of undefeated, did, you know, they may have come across as underdogs that last series. And, well, this time around, UDV is certainly looking to be the underdogs going against TNC. But, I don't know, Arthur, it's very hard to go against your opinions right now. You haven't really been wrong today. So, I'm gonna stick with you on this one. The TNC, again, I'd love to see this revitalized roster perform well going into this, this first series for themselves of Div 2 of the DPC. See how it all pans out. Should be very exciting.
Yeah. We haven't talked much about TNC, but with this new roster, I do like that they bring in some more veterans. Because in the last iteration, it was Xiao Yu on the offlane, and you are running 3 cores with very, I would say, very limited experience, especially to be in the Division 1 winning games. So in this time, you know, this iteration, they bring Bok back, they return Bok back to the roster, and then they have Carlo, one of the very important pieces back in Escalation days. So right now you have 3 veterans, and you are building you are building around these 2 very young stars. And Your Way recently just hit 12k MMR, rank 1 currently in Southeast Asia. I feel like they are definitely feeling some individual momentum here. So I would say this is going to be very, very close, because once again, UDB, they're not some simple walkover.
Certainly not, and we will get into it. Game number 1 between TNT Predator and UDV set to get underway. There you go. I mean, UDV certainly not wants to be underestimated going into this series. TNC, we'll see if this experience does pay off, and see if the 12k MMR does matter here from Yoe. I mean, we all know he's number 1 right now. We'll see if it does mean anything in this series, as we might actually have a very early team fight. Yoe, he's gonna get hit by the tower once, but that'll be about it.
Yeah, this is not a puck. This is not very easy. Oh, Febby.
Oh boy. Yeah, nice disruption here from Febby to set up. But do you have a stun? Is the question, and the answer is no. So JG, he's gonna take a lot of damage, but no real way to lock him down and take him out.
Yeah, they even give extra 4 gold to Dragon Knight. Not that it's gonna matter, but GG wasn't phased at all right there. Wasn't panic, or even Rapido around there didn't even learn any spells to get his core away from safety. So you know, even better, they got the reward there. So turns out this early game skirmish is actually favorable to UDB.
It certainly is. They should be able to get a fairly even trade on those bounty runes, as Carlos set up the top side for the 2-for-2. Ken, he might try to intercept here on this Morphling, and he does not get it. Carlo does manage to pick it up. So there might even be a bit of body blocks coming out as Carlo wants to get a bit of damage off onto Ken. You know he hasn't got the waveform right now, so you want to harass him as much as possible, and that is a lot of damage already flying out. Ken might have to actually go back towards the fountain with this rate. In fact, do they actually have a kill? Not quite. He'll be fine. But my goodness, some very early aggression from TNC. Looks like Ken, he'll just TP right back towards that top tier 1 tower.
On the other side, he ran into a 1 versus 2 situation here, and he should be fine. So Ken didn't actually go back to home. He TP'd, hiding in the trees and TP'd out. So this is a very dangerous minute here for the Morphling. If he dies, this is gonna hurt a lot. He's gonna have to perform the Walk of Shame, and you know, Morphling, 285 movement seems not the fastest one to get out from race. So Ken definitely want to be careful here.
Certainly so. We'll see if TP, or rather Teehee, can keep him safe. Of course, over in the mid lane, you've got JG and Yoer against each other, and I think we can both agree it's probably going to be one of those very boring lanes, as Dragon Knight tends to make every lane quite boring. Do you think either side has an advantage in this mid lane matchup?
Yeah, that is true. I feel like whenever you're looking at a Dragon Knight, unless this is Thompson playing and he's pushing the the limits to the maximum, otherwise it's probably gonna be the least action impact game here. I think for JG is really looking to just build up. Look at him already building to maximum stats, and then you get the double bracer into soul rain, get the early dagger, and you will be the answer for this Puck. You will be an answer for this Shadow Demon as well. So I feel like it's all about playing for the item timings here for JG.
Absolutely. Of course, that final lane down at bot lane, you've got Young God and Rupido against Luzavai and of course Febi. This lane, I feel like it can be very dangerous here for TNC, as you've got that double stun combination with the Sand King Snapfire. I feel like Febi and Young God, while they could secure a kill, it's probably more likely UDV is going to be able to set something up.
Oh, look at Rupido. He's already going very actively here with the caustic. Oh, that's a lot of damage on Young God. And you know what? There's no salve. So Young God gotta be a bit careful here.
Yeah, I mean, this is where the POS 1 gets very upset at his POS 5 for not having a salve available. And Young God gonna have to eat a treat, get double the regen there, double the time, but still a very rough position here for TNT down at the spot lane. Is there a certain way to play this? I mean, it seems like Rupido going for that caustic finale at 1 is pretty darn powerful here against the Tiny. In fact, had they not missed that cookie, they might have had a chance of getting that kill onto Young God.
Yeah, Sand King unfortunately didn't quite have the mana to go for the border strike there, and Lucifer was counting on Young God to move a little bit forward, and there comes the salve from Febi. So this lane should get stabilized a little bit here. And because Rupido and Lucifer, they're starting to run out of mana right now, this is where Tiny and Shadow Demon is going to be a little bit stronger than them. Until the regen start to kick in coming out from UDV side.
Yeah. Let's see what they can get done. Every lane. It's very quiet at the moment. You see Ken, he has managed to survive throughout that initial onslaught, and well, of course he's at that level 3 mark now on that Morphling, so the Strength Morph going to be much more effective, but I suppose you still have a great time here for Bok, right? Because as the Beastmaster, it's just so easy to control the creep wave and deny off a billion creeps. So Ken is probably going to fall a little bit behind in CS, I'd say, but it looks like he's still going to be able to keep himself up.
Yeah, he's really struggling on the CS side right now, only 14 last hit so far. Beastmaster is quite a good hero to go up against Morphling because you are always able to zone him out with the boar, make it very annoying for the Morphling to deal with, and then meanwhile when zoning him out, you can get a deny in very easily. Or on the other side, Yoei get the first split.
Yeah, he tried his best. I mean, he got a Roshan hit, it was a bash. Yoei, he just waited very patiently to get that last hit off, and that'll be first blood for the Puck, which I suppose if you're TNC, that's probably the best start you could have asked for in terms of giving first blood over to one of your heroes, and he'll be very, very satisfied with that. JG, he won't mind too much of the dragon. I mean, he's a dragon, right? He's just still farming. Meanwhile, bot lane though, Febi has been chased down with the Shadow Demon. Scanner Blast is going to land, and well, UDV, they are able to return the favor across the map.
Yeah, in top lane, I mean, just looking at Bok going really ham on Morphling, then knowing that he wasn't around the corner for quite a bit. So every single time when they find themselves room to harass, they will always go for it. I like this aggression coming from both sides already. They're always trying to threaten kills, and Febi is gonna TP back good old, bottling up for the Puck. And this is where bottom side, Tiny, gotta be careful.
Oh, he's getting jumped in on. He'll be okay though, again. They had the combo there, but it just wasn't quite enough to take him down. They can certainly make him a lot more worried about moving towards that creep wave now though, so Young God have to play a bit more passively until Febi does make his way back over on that Shadow Demon to keep him alive, help him out. Still, Rupido is still having a very good time with the Sand King. It just seems like they've both been trading farm at this bot lane, and well, again, even though you've got this really nice aggression from this combination of Snap Sand King, it just hasn't really amounted to too much quite yet. I suppose they're just quite happy securing those initial items on Rupido before they start really moving.
Yeah, it seems like it's gonna be a pretty slow-paced game coming up from the Sand King as well. At one point he was queuing out for Vanguard. On the other side, Tihi.
Yeah, again in that same position, trying to secure a rune for himself. He's going to be okay this time. They won't have the damage to finish him off. Interestingly enough, Yoei actually had Dream Coil available, but he held out, and instead they're going to throw it onto the Dragon Knight. So they're going a bit greedier for the bigger kill. And with Febi, with all these Shadow Poison stacks, he might be able to get through the HP pool of JG, but not quite. Only 4 stacks. not going to be anywhere near enough damage, and well, they could have had the gyrocopter kill, but again, they got a little bit greedy.
And that's the most exciting you can get for this lane already. Dragon Knight, very, very tanky. Very good job for Yue to recognize that, alright, my coin is to use to, for a bigger kill, so he doesn't want to settle for just a gyrocopter kill. In fact, he actually saved it up for JG. Unfortunately, they didn't bring enough number. And JG with the 3 points early on Dragon Blood so far, proving himself to be quite a nuisance to deal with here. And this is gonna lock the puck on this mid lane, because normally we want to see the puck roaming around a little bit, but when you're up against the Dragon Knight, they always have this Dragon form to bring down the towers. It makes it a little bit harder for a puck to roam around. If you want to do it, you need to make sure that those conversion rates is going to be high. Otherwise, if you don't make it work, you are losing your tower, and that's going to be a very big loss for them.
Absolute disaster if that does happen here for TNC. Is Yue, he'll stick around for now. He's not moving anywhere. More than happy to just keep hitting creeps and farming with JG until they see a proper opening where the rewards are going to be a little bit higher. You see UDV, I mean, they're not rushing for anything either. Like, everyone just hitting creeps, everyone's happy, just keeping that farm going. Just a 1-to-1 almost 8 minutes in. I suppose it's, with these drafts, you're looking for that mid-game timing anyway. Like, you're waiting for a blink on the Sand King, you're waiting for that Hood of Defiance on Bok, or rather the Helm of the Dominator on Bok, and he does have it up now. And pings are out onto Teehee. He's got the Roar available and will commit, and with that Harpy, he'll get plenty of damage off, but is it enough to kill off Teehee? Yeah, it does seem that way, Bok. No issue getting it done.
TNC, they're slowing this game down very well. Because we talk about how UDV, they want to be the one being aggressive early game, right? With the Snapfire, Sand King, and also Gyro. But so far, they haven't been able to get any opportunity like that. So Gyrocopter kind of losing his identity here in the early game, which is why you are seeing him moving around the map, trying to put down some vision. Unfortunately, get punished there by Beastmaster. So very good job for Bok to recognize that this is a free kill for him. And now he's gonna use that to push tower, try to force Ken away, and maybe force a TP rotation coming from Rapido as well.
A bit early here for the Sand King to rotate to defend that top tier 1 tower, but I suppose he's got no choice because the Morphling just can't do it on his own. So immediately with the lane swap here from UDV to try and make sure that the TNC just can't take objectives. But that will mean that now that the Tiny that should have had a lot of pressure being applied, well, in fact, never mind, Young God actually went to the jungle. So they're going to leave Febby down to that bot lane to, I suppose, catch up in terms of XP and farm instead.
Yeah, Shadowdemon is one of the best heroes that can handle the dead lane, so I'm sure Febby is very happy about this. I feel like this is the moment where you are playing for efficiency, and if you just look at the stacks, we are seeing just double ancient stacks coming out from Radiant side, and on the Dire side, there's not much stacks going around as well. And to be fair, Morphling is not the kind of hero that can really enjoy big stacks too, so there's a little bit of loss here coming out from the farm, and Tiny is pulling ahead already.
As expected. Even now, Bok here, he was continuing that pressure on that top tier 1 tower, but because again, Rapido just kind of holding him back, so instead he's going to go ahead and annoy Ken in that Dire jungle. So Teehee is going to be around to just kind of harass him back out and scare him off. I suppose it's one of the very strong things about the Beastmaster is you can always just throw that Hawk out, keep the vision up on the Morphling, and as you can see, Bok, he's just more than happy to rotate to another lane and try to force another tier 1 tower in. Though JG is still just standing his ground on the Dragon Knight. He's just not moving. He does get that the Helm of the Dominator creep, and well, I suppose in some way they're nullifying Bok on this Beastmaster because he can't do what he wants to do.
Yeah, that is quite true, because the top tower is still alive, quite healthy as well, 600 HP. And this is where I think UDV, they might want to pull a little bit more numbers to the mid lane, because they weren't able to make use of this catapult timing. And that's a huge loss as well, because you definitely want to bring down this enemy tier 1 tower as soon as possible. And now they are not able to do that, so it hinders their ability to really get into the enemy jungle and try to force more actions coming on. Because we know about this Tiny, he's really enjoying his farm right now in the jungle, and you want to find a way to stop it.
Top lane, it looks like they're going to try and find this Sand King now as the Roar does fly out. Bok, he's done with these games, but an immediate TP, which was cancelled in the end, does come out, and that scares them off once again here for TNC. Still, Yue now going to show up, and Dreamcoil is out. The latch has been broken immediately, but Yue is in. He's not playing any games here with Rapido. He wants the kill, but the Sandstorm is there. It just won't matter. Orb is out from Yoe to get the job done. And they'll immediately push that tier 1 top tower. Problem is, the mid lane's already gone. JG and Lucifer just get it done. And, well, that's what you've been talking about, Arthur. As soon as they put their attention to one top lane, the mid lane is going down.
Yeah, and that's the benefit of having your Senging to have an early Vanguard. If the enemy wants to kill you, under the sense of they will need to commit more numbers. And when they are doing that, you can either choose to help the Senging, or you can choose to easily trade away the mid tower. And that is definitely a very good trade there coming up from UDV. Even though this game is getting a bit slower, but you can see that they are picking up their items right now. Dragon Egg, he's going straight into BKB, Mike. Wow. Something that I wouldn't expected here.
Well, what's the reasoning for that, you think? Like, just, is there that much magical burst here for JG that he needs to go for that route?
I feel like this is something very similar when they run this traditional offlane plus a Mars mid, where they have run before having JG as the Mars, and he did the same thing as well, going for the BKB first. And I think the idea behind it is that you don't want two heroes that are like doing the same role, which is the blink stun. You want someone to be able to do that, and another one being able to soak up damage for a team. So having this balance, you're able to scale a little bit better when it comes to the mid game. So it also gives you some options for you to force something to happen as well. With this BKB, they should be able to be the ones staying alive longer than TNC.
Very, very interesting here from UDV, and I like it. I mean, it makes enough sense, and it's going to make life very hard in terms of dealing with JG. There's TNC again. Oh, they've got that creep. They've got the Dark Troll Summoner. You've seen what happens when this creep is available. Bok, he wants a Sand King kill, and they might be able to go for that top tier 2 very quickly as Bok is going to move in. But where's your detection? Rupido, he'll get dusted up. He's got the epicenter going though, but no, it never came out. It got cancelled off just in time. Problem is, with the rotations out, TNC cannot follow up on Bok. Is barely going to survive, and so will Febby. But UDV once again successfully defending that top lane.
That was very well communicated by UDV. Rupido was clearly baiting there, and he understands that he has this Vanguard. He even stunned the Beastmaster trying to get the epicenter off. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to. Otherwise, that is going to be a lot better for them. And this is where their action is going to start, Mike. It was, you know, the first 30 minutes was all calm before the storm. Now that Sand King has the dagger, they are not going to stop anymore.
UDV's done some good work so far. Can't wait to see where they go with this, as they have smoked up. Blink up, Bok. He's going to get caught immediately. UDV, very, very good. Finding an immediate Beastmaster kill. And like you said, I mean, this is that part where they should not slow down. TNC, they almost look kind of lost at this point, right? Like, they're not finding objectives. I wonder what the game plan is from this point on.
It feels like their game plan has always been surrounding the Tiny. That's why you have the Puck to slow down the game. You have the Weaver to create all these shenanigans on the dead lane as well, which is what he has been doing very well. If you look at Carlo, he's getting a lot of farm in. He's the richest among 4 supports by quite a good margin. And Spirit Vessel is up very soon, which is so important against Morphling, against Sand King, and also the Dragon Knight. Which is why this BKB timing of JG is also super important. He needs to be the one standing in front of the team fight, so that the Morph and everyone else basically can get to just cast their spells a little bit safer.
Ken still able to just find free farm right now as well on that Morphling, and I guess it does kind of go back to that Vessel. Like, you want that up to be able to really be able to secure this Morphling kill. So, I mean, I'm surprised Ken is farming so well, because I thought the Tiny would always be ahead, but that is just not the case. Ken doing a great job of just hitting creeps and escalating in that net worth. As Carlo will keep tabs on the Morphling, but again, without the Vessel, without some help, he can't do much. It's their top lane. They're going to move in. Rupido, he's right in onto that Beastmaster. Bok is going to turn around for the roar out, and it looks like maybe UDV this time may have gone a bit too far as they try to go for the epicenter, but the silence was there from Yoe. So TNC, they are able to respond this time around. We'll see if they can find anything from this.
It seems like there's a small disconnection there between the two cores, because Dragon Knight was he was happy to settle just with the crit wave, but then Rupido jumped in the hit and he couldn't follow up. Lucifer.
Yeah, Swarm is there to give the vision. Yoe, he'll be out with the Witch's Blade hit to slow him down. Lucifer, though, is going to be okay. As Carlo actually kind of body blocked Yoe there for a moment, and now in fact the Weaver might be in trouble because JG's moving in, but he won't be able to land the stun in time. So it looks like Carlo will be able to make it out with his life intact and does now have the vessel. As Yoe, he's still trying to look for a target. Ken would be a nice one, but it seems very hard to infiltrate that side of the map when you've still got this tier 1 mid tower standing.
Yeah, this is definitely the biggest priority right now for TNC.
Nice Spiral Strike in, Rupido going right in onto Febby, and they've got him. Just no hesitation from UDV.
Yeah, that's a quick kill though, but multiple cases was committed. There's a 100-second cooldown spell, so still pretty big for just a position 5 that's about to be up in 15 seconds. Now they have to turn this into something quick. Yoe.
It's a nice kill if they can find it. Hiding the trees? No, he will show himself. Or back the way into the tree line. He knows something is wrong. Too many heroes missing off the map right now, but they are being very patient waiting for this puck. Yoe, kind of surrounded from all sides at the moment. Now we'll break the smoke of Lucifer, and that'll give the information over. The Rupido's been very patient, but no. The creep wave spots him out, and now a Dream Core. Yoe is going to try and counter-initiate back in onto the side of UDV, and they should at least have a Snapfire. They will. Raw will come out just in case. As Teehee's even being chased down here by Young God and Carlo. They'll get the swarm onto the gyrocopter, and they might just have themselves a second kill. As Teehee will not be able to get out of this one. There's very nice plays there from Yoe, just realizing that they were probably around the bot lane somewhere, and well, TNC, they react very quickly.
That was such a dangerous maneuver there coming out from UDV. I feel like that was a kill that is very hard to land. I'm surprised that they even went for it. Yoe definitely have a very good awareness there to dodge that gang and also find himself and his team very big kills. And with this, they should be able to advance the map control a little bit here with Bog pushing out the bottom lane. And talking about Bog, it seems like he's going for pipe. So not the helm of Overlord Rush that we always see on him. Very good adjustment here. Pipe, knowing that UDV, they're so reliant on this magical damage coming from Sand King and also the Sapphire and also Gyrocopter, right? So really good itemization here, allows his team to run together and take team fights now.
Certainly so. Definitely a much more comfortable kind of position to fight. UDV now has kind of nullified some of that magic damage coming in. And speaking of UDV, I wonder when they group up and try to move again. It does seem like this draft still wants to be very aggressive at this timing. And in fact, they might go right now. 4-man smoke up. They'll leave the Morphling to farm. They'll try to move into that Radiant Triangle. In fact, never mind that, because they've spotted Hero's top lane. And Young God, he'd be a big one. If you could find the Tiny, you'd be very happy as UDV. But in fact, no, they look a little bit lost here. They're just currently very patient.
They didn't go for the wave, man. Can you believe that? The wave is just in front of them and they're not going for it. They knew something is coming. And Fabby, look at him running in circles. He hopes someone is going to find him.
And they do. Very, very nice tank of the gank here from Febby as Young God will be able to turn back around now on Lucifer, and they'll find a trade for themselves. JG, though, gonna pop the Dragon Form, and now Rupido, he's there with the epicenter, but the pipe is out. Bok, he may have saved the day, but Teehee is there with the call down, and it looks like eventually they will end up dropping to UDV. So they thought that was going to be a very nice turnaround. In the meantime, look at that mid lane, Arthur. They've got that Dark Troll Summoner going onto that mid tier 1 tower, but they might lose Yoe for this. He'll try to jaunt away, and he's going to make it.
Oh, if only they had the Dragon Ball there. Dragon Knight was just 400 gold away from the shard. If he had the Dragon Ball, Fireball, I think he might have landed this kill on the puck. But yeah, still, very good rotation coming out from UDV. Finally finding them Tiny, because this is definitely the target that they have been looking for the entire game. And Fabby, he was really hoping that he could tank the smoking there, but they probably didn't expect there's so many numbers coming out of UDV, which is why, you know, Tiny wanted to fight back a little bit, but got surprised there coming out from UDV. Still, very even game, Mike. And I'm quite surprised that the JG is able to keep himself on top of the network shot by quite a good margin, 2k ahead of the Tiny in the park.
It is very impressive. Tiny. It's very impressive as a Dragon Knight to be able to keep farming this quick. And You know, one question I wanted to ask you, Arthur, about that last team fight was, like, you saw the Tiny get sacked there. Do you think, is it worth losing the POS 1 of TNC to get that mid-tier 1 tower down? Because it felt like the mid-tier 1 was halting them quite a bit.
I wouldn't say it is 100% worth it, but I would say it's a strong consolation prize. I'm also quite surprised that they didn't just commit everything to help out the Tiny, because Tiny is quite tanky there. And frankly, they have the tier 1 tower for them to do that, so maybe that was just Fabi's call to build out and to not take an unfavorable fight right there, which is understandable as well. Because right now with the Tiny, you always want to take fights correctly and go for the fights that you are confident in winning.
Here we go, UDV, 4-man smoke up. Oh, they may have found the puck. Yoe! They were so close to finding Carlo instead, but they'll find a much better target onto the puck. Still TNC, do they really want to force this fight? I don't think so. UDVs, they still have all their abilities up, and in fact, they're going to rush for him. Fabi, he's stuck around a bit too long. They'll make the jump in onto the Shadow Demon, and they'll have plenty of control for this hero. No problem here for UDV. Oh, you've got to hate that if you're Yoe. Like, Carlo, he should have broken the smoke, but he just left just the nick of time.
Yeah, sometimes in Dota 2, you do need some kind of luck, to be very honest, because it could easily be Carlo there. Well, for UDV, this is a good catch for them once again. They definitely want to turn this into at least a big objective, which is why they're committing for bottom, but it's just the 3 of them though.
It certainly is. They were just hoping for the glyph to be forced down, and they'll walk away now. Still, very, very slight net worth lead, 1k, and it goes back to what you said. I mean, this is a very, very close game between these two. As predicted by you in the drafting phase as well. So there you go, Arthur. You're still right about everything so far. As Young God, top lane, onto Lucify. Should have himself a Snapfire. And it looks like this time they will not be able to punish him. So he gets something.
Alright. Right, there's one thing, UDV so far they've been doing everything correctly. They've been actively using their smoke, and their conversion rate is pretty high as well. But here is where things are gonna slow down a little bit. Tiny, he's ready to fight. But if you look at Morphling, Manta style Lincolns, probably not. He maybe needs one more offensive item. So this is where TNC, if they want to force a Roshan, they could. They'll always have outstanding vision with the Hawk, and they'll always have an upper hand in knowing UDV whether they are coming or not, unless they're smoked. But with the rate that UDV has been using their smoke, I believe they wouldn't have much left right now. I'm looking at both of the supports, and there's no smokes on either of them. So I would think that is probably out of stock.
He'll get the double damage rune, and it is going to be denied away from TNC. Teehee, it is going to cost him his life, however. And TNC, are they going to try for a Roshan? Yeah, they've got all those crazy skeletons going on, but in the meantime, Rupido, he's threatening with an epicenter. He's going to move in. Onto Febi he goes, but this is a very risky maneuver. He'll BKB up. He'll have to leave the area. And as the Mortimer's Kisses come in, JG will try to rush in on the Dragon Knight. They'll move in onto Buck, but now the Dream Coil's there. Who is actually winning this team fight? It looks like it might be going the way of TNC as the Sand King is finally dropping low. Rupido is gone, but so is Bok. So both offlaners are down now as Young God is running out of time with that BKB. And it looks like he's not confident to keep going, but JG is moving back in. Disruption is there from Febi. He's gone though. Young God, he'll keep going. They're onto JG now on that Dragon Knight. They'll be able to take him down, but now Yo is in trouble. He's still alive though. As Ken. He'll be chased by Carlo, who's got the vessel. That'll be it. Another very close fight between these two. I think TNC came out on top though.
Yeah, that could have been so bad there. It looked like a very good epicenter, but it took quite a good 2 to 3 seconds for his team to realize that he's going in. So they were able to buy a lot of time there for TNC to get out. A little bit disconnection once again coming from UDV side. Sand King went in a little bit earlier. And you are starting to see though, like Morphling getting involved in that fight with Lincoln and Manta. He's not doing enough damage at all. Tiny was so close in dying, or in fact, he's actually gonna get a free kill for himself.
Yeah, now bot lane, Yoe gonna try and move in onto the Snapfire. TNC, they're doing a very good job of just finding these pickoffs across the map. This will slow down UDV a little bit until they're all up as 5 again. So I mean, I guess props to UDV. Even though that team fight didn't go their way, they did stop the Roshan. So, you know, I guess it's something.
Yeah, it's still a win, definitely. Still though, now this is where you can't afford to make any mistakes at all. You can't afford to drop even 1 or 2 members, because if TNC find a small room for Roshan, they will be able to complete that in such a short time. This is where UDV, not only that they need to make sure that they don't die, they also need to make sure that they are always around the Roshan pit as well, which is really, really hard for them, because by doing that, you are losing a lot of efficiency on the map, and also you are always running into Hawk as well. So TNC, they are the one controlling the Roshan pit right now.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
TNC poking and prodding at that Roshan once again. Carlo keeping tabs on that Weaver. See who's on that high ground. They're even trying to get that D ward off with these balls while they can. They'll be able to eventually find it. UDV though doing a great job of taking that outpost back and not allowing a free Roshan to go the way of TNC. And hell, now with that Hags up on JG, this is when things get real fun for the Dragon Knight, right? Because he just starts hitting like an absolute truck. And that damn, like, being able to just cross terrain whenever the hell he wants always feels very nice as this DK. So happy days here for JG. And see what they can make of it though.
Absolutely, and there's no one that can really build into a Skadi to really hinder Dragon Knight as well. So I think his game is pretty much secure here. And we haven't talked much about Dragon Knight versus Tiny, right? I actually do think Dragon Knight is one of the very solid counters to Tiny because of how tanky you are. And when you are on the Dragon form, you slow down the Tiny so much.
Absolutely, Young God. Now mid lane, they're thinking about the jump in, but they're not going to go for it. They were under vision the whole time anyway. And TNC, are they going to try for Roche again? It's like a bit of an awkward attempt here, but they are going to go for it. First Roshan of the game. UDV do not have vision over this area, so they may not know this is happening, but I mean, Roshan is going now, half HP. Do they really not know?
Guys?
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know, Arthur.
Someone is not talking in the team.
Nice. They don't know, that's for sure. So now Young God, he wants to move in. JG, he's already popped the Dragon form. Young God does not care though. Avalanche toss is out. Call down. It's going to be committed here from Teehee. They are chipping away at this Tiny quite nicely. Have they gone into early? No. The time lapse is there with the Ags from the Weaver to keep Young God going, but now Ken, he'll move in, and he's got some damage now on this Morphling. He wants that Tiny down. In the meantime, though, they might lose Rupido when they do. The Sand King's gone. In the meantime, Young God, he finally drops with the Aegis, but he's got that secondary life to play with, and he'll be back at any moment as JG will pop the BKB, but it does seem like they have to retreat. So a bit of a slow team fight. So only one hero ends up going down, but well, TNC, I suppose they make it work.
Yeah, both teams, they are approaching this team fight with a lot of cautious. No one really trying to push the limits too hard here. And now you are starting to see the struggle of this Morphling build, right? He went into BKB because there's just too many stuns and also magical damage to deal with, especially from the Puck and Tiny. So you had to go for BKB if you want to have a solid way of surviving in team fight. But then again though, man, test out Lincoln's BKB, where's the damage? He needs a lot more time to be able to output enough damage to bring down whatever target they are disabling. Because if you talk about disable, UDV, they have all the disable in the world. They really just need damage.
They do. And Ken is still working towards that Daedalus, but it's going to be a long way away from that. And maybe if he has the Crystal or something, he can get a bit more damage up, but even then, you want that full Daedalus to really get the damage going. Still TNC, more than happy to spend their time continuing to build Young God up, because while he has the damage, he may not feel completely ready yet to go for the huge team fights. And so with a 4K net worth lead, TNC are going to slow it down a little bit. Take their time, build up that Satanic on Young God now. In fact, he had the Blink queued up, but goes back for the bigger item, and I can't say I disagree with that either. Like, it doesn't feel like Young God really needs the Blink up.
Yeah, it feels like as long as he's able to stay in a team fight for long, his teammates naturally will come in with extra damage. For JG though,
very far forward. He's got the BKB up, so it seems like he's confident. Young God.
And
Ken, he's gonna be alright. He's gonna make it. Meanwhile, Rupido just playing games here in the tree line is going to make it out as well, and TNC get nothing for this big rotation.
My god, Kendall's too close for comfort, man. Oh my god, my heart. If any random avalanche came out, the entire team would have to stay for him. So, whew, dodge a bullet there. This is where TNC is gonna look for more, Mike. I feel like, oh, Lucify.
Yeah, nice hawk dive onto Lucify, but a great burrow strike from Rupido to try and turn this one around. They've got the Snapfire and the epicenter. Well, it's gonna do nothing. Not too much, as now Young God happy to move in, forcing out the BKBs, but there goes your Sand King. BKB or not, the Tiny does not care. Yoe though, gonna keep going up to Ken. They'd love a Morphling kill for their trouble. Hawk dive, it's not gonna stun him up. He'll break the linkers, but in the meantime, Teehee, he's gonna go down, and now Young God, he's onto JG. He's got so much damage on this Tiny. JG, he'll pop the BKB up, but it may not matter. Oh, UDV. They pay the price here as TNC clean up 4 of them, and they even force a buyback from the Snapfire.
Oh, UDV, they really have been playing a very good game, stabilizing the game, but this is where the Tiny is online and the Morphling not quite yet, which is why it feels like this 5-on-5 team fight is not on the same level at all. Because if you compare the Tiny, the damage output coming from Tiny and Morphling is incomparable, and Tiny is also as tanky as Morphling as well. So that is a big difference when it comes to this position 1 versus position 1 matchup. And I feel like UDV, they will need to recognize that this is not the timing that they can approach these 5 versus 5s. They need to buy more time for Morphling to get to this damage item.
Ken still just only has the Chrysalis up, and yeah, still needs a bit more time. Almost there for the Demon Edge, but you want that recipe up, and UDV back to the drawing board, though it does seem like they're thinking about getting aggressive again. But no, they'll hang around the triangle, they'll stick together. Give Ken the time. But in the meantime, TNC, they are pushing out those side lanes. You see another tower go down here in Young God. He's got the full Satanic up down that Tiny. So it looks like he really just wants to go for a big fight. And maybe they could force in that mid tier 2 tower now as Young God has moved in. It could be very awkward timing for UDV because again, they don't have that damage item yet. They just don't.
They want to go.
Oh, then they're moving Yoe onto 2. In fact, make that 3. Dream Coil was nice. Rupido, he'll go for the epicenter, but who's it landing on? A nice Burrow Strike. Maybe this is the turning point of the disruption. Does save the Tiny for now, so Young God, he can just keep going. Meanwhile, Yoe has already found 2 on the backside, and JG, he's a sitting duck without that BKB. Yoe is completely cleaning up on this puck. As they're onto the Sand King now. Great toss over from Young God. That'll be an ultra kill out for the puck. He may not be able to get the Rampage, but it won't matter because they'll be able to get the tier 2 mid tower. And they're onto the tier 3s now, TNC. They're looking real good in this game 1.
Oh, definitely. UDV, they had to spend so much time going on Young God there, and which is why Yoe completely left unchecked in the entire team fight and got the ultra kill for him. I believe this might be more than a pair of racks. If they want to go for the top 1, they could easily go for it.
It's so hard for UDV. I mean, you just said it, Arthur, but they were having a perfect game. They had everything under control, but a couple bad team fights and suddenly your 2 racks is down. And well, maybe this is the difference in experience here between these 2 teams. As TNC managed to find the opening, or rather break one open for themselves. As Young God, he's moving into the tier 4 towers. I don't know about that, but he'll get plenty of damage off before he leaves. And now if you're TNC, you're in such a powerful position. 19k net worth advantage with 2 racks is up. It's so hard to see them losing this game now.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like for UDV, they kept going again and again, right? Because we talked about how they really need this item on Morphling, but it seemed like they felt really bad stopping, and they didn't really want to just stagnate the game and try to buy time for Ken. So they're paying a big price here for their inexperience, I feel. And TNC, they are definitely looking like in full control for this game. Look at them, they are not leaving this triangle at all. They know that this is the only place that UDV can farm right now. They're gonna smoke up too.
And we go, Young God frontlining old JG. He's broken the smoke. Young God, has he recognized this yet? He'll ignore the Dragon Knight, instead moving on to the high ground. He'll find Teehee. He'll take down the Gyrocopter as Ken. He'll try to go on to Carlo, but there's your time-lapse, saving the day again. Instead they're trying to Febby, but even he's surviving with the disruption up. There's just so much time for TNC to just move back in onto this Morphling as Ken is falling so darn quick. He'll keep trying to strength morph, but it's not going to be enough. None of it's enough here for UDV as this game is over. GG is called. JG. He has called it for the team, and it really hurts to see UDV. They're off to such a great start, but again, just a couple mistakes and it cost them the game one.
Oh, this must be very painful for UDV. Like you said, they were doing such a good job in stabilizing the game. It means a lot for them because a lot of people coming into this series thinking that this is going to be an easy storm for TNC. UDV says no, but it's like a lot of time it's like a rubber band, right? It's so intense. At any single moment, it might just break. And it feel like UDV, they didn't quite control, how intense it could be. At one point when the Tiny was online, they didn't realize that Morphling wasn't prepared to fight at all. And they keep taking all this unfavorable fight. And while they realize it, it's already too late for them to come back from. So TNC, their maneuver around the Russian pit was a beautiful one to see. Like, they're just completely in control of the Russian fight. Take away the vision first, and then making sure that UDV has no idea about where they are, and then finally going back into Russia. That was some very experienced play.
It certainly was. With that, TNC will take a 1-0 victory so far, but this is a best-of-3 series, so we are going to head off to a very short break. And right after that break, we'll be back with TNC against UDV game number 2.